Welcome back to episode 4 of our hardcore Minecraft series. My name is Zedryn, and today we'll be stepping into the fantasy side of this world. In the depths of a mystical cavern, we'll awaken a moss farm to supply the blocks needed for future builds, and at the heart of the realm, a towering arcane obelisk of dark stone and glowing runes will conceal an iron farm to end our shortage. Two creations with one purpose: expand the realm and push our story forward. Leave a like if you're excited for this series, and please subscribe if you're new. We're aiming to reach 1,500 subscribers this year, and I really appreciate your help. That's enough of my yapping. Let's get into it. We're currently on day 274 in this world, and time is flying by, but I've enjoyed every second of it. So to start, I want to go ahead and build a moss farm, and I'm thinking the best place for that will be right over here in this area near the lumber mill. I need to build this moss farm first before we build the iron farm in order to get a lot of moss blocks. So I'm going to start with some terraforming. So we're making great progress. Actually, this is where our moss farm is going to sit. As you can see, all of this is blocked off, so I got to make a path to the top and continue terraforming. I also made a mistake. I smelted a ton of cobblestone only to remember I have a silk touch pickaxe. Now it's a lot easier. We officially completed the terraforming for our moss cavern, and as you can see, I also made a little walkway down here where we're going to be housing the moss farm itself. But we're not done just yet. I want to make this look like a custom lush cave, so I need to go gather a ton of different blocks in order to do that. My idea is to create an archway using a bunch of different blocks to give it a little bit more texture and character on the outside, while on the inside it'll be extremely lush and fit right in with the theme of the farm. And I'll carry it all the way down throughout the cavern. So I did mention I need a lot of different blocks, and one of those blocks is actually some green concrete. So I'm going to grab all my sand, and I'm going to grab all the gravel that I have, and we could just go ahead and make some green concrete powder, and one stack should actually be enough. And we're just going to do this the easiest way that I know how. Let me grab some water, put that here, and all I got to do is hold right click and left click, and this should get us our concrete really quickly. Next, we're going to need a lot of deep slate, which fortunately for me, I actually went ahead and started mining some deep slate for the iron farm. So here's our deep slate mining area, and wow, I have a ton of cobble deep slate. I'm just going to grab all of it. I'm going to put everything I need for this arch inside of that barrel. I also need to grab a few pieces of black wool, and fortunately, I have been breeding up quite a few sheep. We should have all the wool we need right here. I do want to give a shout out to Catherine for saying I should put a bed in the guest house, and here it is. So we're going to go to sleep and continue gathering our materials. Okay, I just want to make a quick call out that skeleton dropped a power 2 flame bow, which is absolutely insane. And I just so happen to have an infinity book. So now we have a pretty good bow. All right, so gathering those materials took a little bit longer than expected, but I believe we are ready to go. We're gonna wait until the rain clears and then get started on the arch. For now, I'm gonna go get some more food. I started things off with a darker base at the bottom just to give the entrance that grounded, shadowy feel. And as I worked my way up, I blended in lighter tones so it looked like the stone was gradually catching more light. Then I went back in with some highlights to really make the edges pop and give the whole thing more depth. The end result is an entrance that feels like it belongs in the landscape amongst the farming village, while still standing out as a natural cavern. We are now done with the arch, and I think it came out looking pretty great. Now I need to start working on the interior of the cavern itself up here, and also make my way down below before we build our moss farm here. So for the interior, I am going to need a lot of dripstone blocks and some pointed dripstone. We're also going to need some smooth stone, some mossy cobblestone, some coarse dirt, regular dirt, some slabs, lily pads, and calcite. Ooh, I gotta go get more calcite. We also need big and small drip leaves, clay blocks, and a couple other materials. So I need to go and find a lush cave. Luckily, I know just where to find one. But before we do that, I am going to, But before we do that, I am going to go grab my bow and my shield because we are going back to the cave where I actually got this bow. Yoink, yoink. I forgot. I need to grab my silk touch pickaxe and shovel. Yoink. Yoink. Unfortunately, these are on very low durability. So I'm going to make a lectern, go to a nearby village, and try to see if I can get some mending books. Okay, so this is the same village that I got all of our villagers from for the crop farms. There is another village close by, but What? What? Did you steal it? It's back in my inventory. Okay. Okay, do you want a job? Okay, I hear another villager, but I don't see him. Oh, there you are. Okay, let's see if I can help you up. Do you want a job? All right, let's see. What do you got? You got any mending? Now we're going to sit here and try to get mending on this guy. We got mending. We got mending. Okay, I'm going to go and grab some more emeralds because I don't have enough. Unfortunately, the fletching villager that we just traded with is still locked. So I went exploring and I got a couple more emeralds. There were like 2 little things here, but I have fortune 3, so it gave me even more. But I also came across a zombie spawner, which is absolutely awesome. My house is literally right there. I'm actually extremely excited that we just got 2 mending books. Thank you, villager. Okay, so we're going to put mending on our silk touch pickaxe. This kind of works out because I don't have unbreaking on it, unfortunately, yet. I've actually repaired this shovel probably about 2 or 3 times now. So I'm tempted to make another shovel, which I already did, and then enchant it. But I need to go and get level 30 first, which will work out because I can repair our pickaxe while we are at the spider farm. Okay, so the spider farm was taking a little bit way too long to even repair my silk touch pickaxe, let alone get myself to level 30. So I think I have a better idea that involves making a ton of smokers and smelting as many potatoes as possible. Okay, that barely took any time at all, and look how many baked potatoes we have. As you can see, I am now a level 30, so I'm going to go ahead and enchant our shovel and hope that we can get Silk Touch on it. Unfortunately, we did not get Silk Touch, but we did get a pretty decent shovel. Since I can't seem to get Silk Touch on our shovel and I'm struggling for levels, I'm going to go ahead and head on over to that lush cave anyway and try to find a ton of geodes to collect more calcite and various sized amethyst clusters, so that way we can get started on the interior of our moss cavern. Okay, that should be more than enough calcite, and we unfortunately didn't get all the amethyst clusters that I wanted in terms of the size, but I think that'll be okay for now. We can just go ahead and add that later on. So I would say now's a good time to get started on the interior of this cavern. Okay, so it's coming together. Obviously, we have to carry this all the way down below, but I'm going to hang up some lighting really quickly, and then I'm going to fill the rest of this with some water. I want to go ahead and build a little simple bridge right here. So to start, I'm actually going to use some mud brick walls. And we're also going to go ahead and use some spruce trap doors. Then I want to use campfires like this all the way across this way. We're going to do another 2 here. And then I think we're going to end it by curving it a little bit by 3. Just like that. We're going to finish off this side with some more spruce trapdoors. Get rid of these blocks here. We're actually going to use some spruce fence gates and some fences like this. And since there is a little bit of a curve right here, I'm actually going to use some fences just like that. And I know it's not the best, but it's simple and it looks pretty good. All that's left to do is add some lanterns for extra lighting. And that's it. I think it matches really well, and now we have to carry the rest of this design all the way down here. So we have everything we need to start this moss farm, and I went ahead and started clearing some space. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I will be building a moss farm that was created by UForce. I'll be sure to put a link to this farm in the description. So to start out, we're going to put some redstone torches here, along with redstone dust all the way across. We're going to be placing some pistons right above the first line of redstone with some sticky pistons going across the top of the redstone torches. We also brought some stone because I need to put a block here and a repeater on 4 ticks with a note block right here with an observer in this orientation. We're just going to give that a test, and it looks like it's working properly. Next, we're going to place a repeater on 4 ticks here with a block in front of it, another repeater on 2 ticks, a comparator on subtract mode with a repeater on 4 ticks and a block in front of it. I also need to put a redstone torch on this block. Now, to make sure this loops properly, I do need to put a repeater here on 4 ticks. Now I need to clear out some more space over here for the remainder of the redstone. I'm going to clear a little extra, and we can just place back some stone as needed. So I am going to put a block here and a redstone torch right there, along with a block on top of that. And you can see that that activates the sticky pistons. So if I were to remove this block, it'll shut off. So I am going to be modifying this just a little bit by putting a repeater here with a block in front of it, and then we're going to drop our redstone down like that. Next, I need to put a block on top of this redstone torch, a block on top of this repeater, and a block on top of this note block, along with a comparator, a block on top, and some redstone dust with a repeater on 4 ticks here. And we're going to cover up these pistons here. Now I'm going to place my trapdoors in front of these sticky pistons and raise them up. And I'm going to line the top of these trapdoors with some stone. Let's put some redstone dust here. Now that we got the main portion of the farm built, I need to actually build the bonemeal input and dispensing system, and then connect it up to this circuit. So this internal mechanism will work. All I will have to do is put bone meal in this chest, and it'll feed into the dispenser that's under this piston. I did modify this a little bit, as this farm calls for wax copper bulbs. Unfortunately, wax copper bulbs are only obtainable by having a blaze rod, and we don't even know where a nether fortress is. We also don't really have the armor to find one. So I swapped out those copper bulbs with some redstone dust, which practically does the same thing for this farm specifically. Now I'm just gonna seal the rest of this up and finish the interior. All right, we are done with the interior, and I think it came out looking great. I added a little shrine for amethyst right here, some brown mushrooms, and just made it look very lush overall. This is supposed to be a mystical cavern anyway. I also added an entrance over on this side in case we have to fix any issues with our moss farm at any point. And I personally think we did a really good job capturing the mystical cavern theme. And let me know what you think in the comments down below. Now, all we have to do is flick this on. Our farm should start working once again. And we're gonna run on over here and make sure that it is still working. Looks like it is. And now all these items are sorting by the looks of it. And now we are completely done with our moss farm. So now the mystical moss farm is complete, but there is one more thing I want to build right out front. Ta-da! I decided to build a moss and dripstone cart in order to make it look like we're taking items and moving it to our main area. We're not going to be finishing this exterior area today because honestly, I haven't even designed it, but eventually we will. I just need to move the storage monstrosity elsewhere. And just like that, it's been relocated. And now it's time to gather the tens of thousands of materials we need in order to build our iron farm. I also need to choose a prime location for it. I have decided to build it right over here on this little mountain. So I need to clear these trees and make another chest monstrosity. Chest monstrosity is complete. Time to gather materials. So we managed to get all the cobbled deep slate and tuff that we need. And in the process, I got 38 diamonds, which is honestly a win. Now, before we start crafting up all the blocks I need using these materials, I need to go and get about 2,000 magma blocks. So let's go make a trip to the Nether. So if you recall, previously I had built a flower farm in order to get easy access to seeds and multiple flowers so I can get various types of dyes. Since I need a ton of purple dye, I need a lot of cornflowers and poppies. So I'm going to go ahead and fill this up with the bone meal that I currently have. And we're going to sit here for a while and get what we need. By the way, I didn't even realize it until now. I need over 50 stacks of purple stained glass. So we got to make a trip to the desert and gather a lot more sand to smelt up. This is a really big project. So while we continue to smelt up our glass, we're going to go ahead and start terraforming the land. Okay, that only took 3 hours, give or take. So now that we're done with that, I want to start off by building a grand entrance against this cliffside here. But first, I want to touch up the area surrounding it to make it look a little bit better by adding some rocks along the edge on this side and that side, as well as over there. So I'm going to grab my dirt, my tuff, and a bunch of other materials so we can get started. I started by adding some dirt on top of the stone to make it feel more natural. For the rocks, I used a mix of cobbled deep slate and acacia wood for the shadows, stone, light gray wool, and concrete powder for the highlights, and some coal ore to make it stand out. I want to give a shout out to F-Whip for the idea. I love the design of these rocks so much that I felt they fit perfectly with the vibe I was going for. As you heard in the voiceover, I did mention I wanted to kind of shade it. It actually makes it look a little bit more realistic. So I'm going to create these same rocks on the right side, but I think I'm going to use a little bit of iron since this will be the entrance to an iron farm anyway. And then I have to mine out the rest of this for about another 3 hours or so. Nice. As I was finishing up terraforming for this area, I did run into a dripstone cave. I have no words to describe what happened. Let me just show you. Look how many mobs. Oh my gosh. What? Oh. Oh, what? Why are there so many mobs down here? Holy creeper. Okay, why are they so fast? Slow down, creepers. Slow down. Why are you... They were running so fast at me. Chill out. Calm down. Calm down. Calm down. How did you blow up? What? I don't know what is going on here, but I'm gonna light up all of this. My chest plate broke. No. Have I ever mentioned how much I dislike skeletons? That was the craziest thing ever. All right, the cave is all lit up, and now we can actually get started on the entrance and then start building the Arcane Obelisk. So now that the obelisk is complete and these pylons are built, I do need to fill this entire circle with water to prevent mobs from spawning in the middle. And I also put some glow lichen all the way around here, which looks a little bit weird, but from a distance, it looks totally fine. So we're going to drop down here, and you can see I already put some hoppers to begin with. I got to go and get more iron in order to make about 50 plus more hoppers. But for now, let's get started on the very first iron farm. I do plan on building 2 of the same ones stacked on top of each other, which should give us plenty of iron. So I already went ahead and built our dispensing system. So we're going to have our iron farm stacked on top of these hoppers here, hence why I need a lot more hoppers. And anything that goes in here will dispense out all the way to the bottom. I'm going to use free cam here to show y'all. But basically what's going to happen is everything will be dropped out into these hoppers, and then down here is going to be where we actually can collect our iron. So just to test that, I'll go ahead and throw 2 pieces here. We'll go into the free cam and we should see it drop out, which it works perfectly. So to start from here, I want to build up 10 blocks. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I kind of want to create a really weird platform here, just like that. So this block is actually where our piston is going to go and our zombie, which that's something I'm not even looking forward to doing. Now we're basically just going to create a redstone clock with repeaters. Set this to 4 ticks, put a block here. Actually, you know what? We need another block right here. And then another set of repeaters on 4 ticks here with redstone dust on both sides like that. We need to make a platform for where the villagers are going to be. So I'm going to put some glass here. I want to be able to see the villagers, even though like I'll never really be inside the obelisk. That was kind of the whole point. But anyway, I'm going to put a block right here with a redstone torch right there. And now you can see that this is working properly. Basically, the zombie will be right here, and it'll pop up and scare the villagers, which will in turn spawn the iron golem. So I'm going to go ahead and shut this off and complete our iron farms. Each of these iron farms requires 3 villagers and 1 zombie. So in order to get them in here, I used a bunch of powered rails and rails to bring villagers from a nearby village into the obelisk and into their respective places. This whole process took about 1 hour, and it was absolutely worth it. All right, so the iron farm is now complete. Unfortunately, with all these magma blocks, I accidentally broke my boots, but that's totally fine because next episode, I have a really good idea to get better enchantments. But with that being said, it does look like it's working. Getting in the zombies and the villagers actually wasn't as hard as I was expecting. But with that being said, I am running low on food and I need to make sure that this actually works, which by the way, we did name our zombies. We named this zombie Sally and this other zombie Joe. I have no reason why I did that, but honestly, it was just some random names that came to me. All right, so now that that's done, let's go make sure that this is actually working. All right, let's see if this works. And it looks like it is working. So now all I have to do is set up an auto sorter, and then we should be all good to go with our iron farm. So to start, I want to line up about 5 double chests, but stacked on top of each other like this. So now that we got our chests, I'm going to line the back of these with our hoppers. Thank you, iron golems. I'm going to do another double chest here, even though it's not even, because these will all be for iron. This will be for poppies. And then this will be for bone meal because I'm going to connect a composter to it. So now we just need to get our building blocks. I've built this so many times in the past that I already know how to do it all by heart. So we're just going to get this all set up. All right, now that that is all set up, and I'm just gonna load these in here with some stone, and then we're gonna put some iron here, and we can see that it is now working, and then this entire system should now be working. Yep, it looks like it actually is. So now I just need to get 4 more stacks of iron and 1 stack of poppies, so that way I can fill up these hoppers. But that'll be a problem for future Zedryn. With that being said, that is all for this episode. We managed to build a beautiful mystical moss cavern that will give us an unlimited amount of moss blocks for future builds. And we built a towering arcane obelisk with an insane entrance that houses our iron farm. This episode took over 80 hours to make, so if you did enjoy, please make sure to leave a comment and drop a like on this video. And please consider subscribing if you would like to see more content like this. I really do appreciate everyone's support, and I look forward to the incredible things that we're going to be doing in this series. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.